Something foul grew within our city. It poisoned the water in the well. Out of the festering growth, a homegrown militia with stockpiled weapons emerged. The federal government rushed in to contain the tendrils of insurrection, but they failed. The rot went deeper than they realized. A botched raid turned into an all-out civil war. As explosions and fighting rocked the city, the National Guard was summoned to facilitate an evacuation. Endless fighting engulfed the streets. And you and I were caught in the crossfire. Then, one night, the flash. Stars cascaded out of the sky, leaving behind streaks that burned bright and brighter until the entire city was subsumed in light. As quickly as it came, the light vanished, leaving behind only uncertainty. Chaos followed. No one knew if this was some new horrible weapon or an unseen phenomenon. That night was one of the longest of our lives. In the morning, we woke, expecting evacuation, only to find that the city was cordoned, quarantined, cut off. Communities were ripped apart as the border wall fell between them. You ventured out with the noble pursuit to protect our neighbors. I asked you to stay. I don't know if you heard me. And then the power went out. I tried to find some comfort in the silence, the momentary ceasefire, but in the darkness, I only found your empty shape. I ventured out into the night to return you to me, but I left too late. I searched, and I searched, but you were always just out of reach. And I was so scared, and so tired. I returned home, and I hoped that soon you would too. You didn't. Instead, I heard the echo of your voice over an impossible distance. The voice you're about to hear belongs to a dead man.
If you can hear my voice, please listen. My name is Raymond Parker. I live in Palmyra. I'm your neighbor and your city councilman. For the last 3 months, myself and roughly 100,000 people have been trapped within the Palmyra exclusion zone. They may have told you we were dead or dying, but we're not. We're here, and we need help. Our government and Kurtisov Industries caused the flash and then quarantined our city to keep the truth from getting out. And I found out why they've caused the flash. I've hidden the truth where my friends can find it. And hopefully broadcast it out to you. I don't know how much longer I have. They're coming. And I hope this message isn't in vain. The truth is out there. Please, don't let this opportunity go to waste. And if you're listening, then you know where to look. Just do it.
Raymond's final message. And I wasn't there with him. I should have gone with him. I should have helped him. I should have listened. I should have done more. Fuck. My name is Jack Feldman, and this is American Abyss. Raymond Parker, age 32, location, unknown. Raymond loved this city, Palmyra. When we first met, I was fresh off the boat and drowning in a sea of people. Raymond spotted me and pulled me up out of the depths. He was the first friendly face I met here. He dispelled all my fears about Palmyra. He grew up here, but the city wasn't always his home. He escaped just after his father died, when he was just 17. He floated from city to city, looking for something he never found. And then, when he got a call about his mom's faltering health, he drifted back. He told me that he too felt lost. He was worried that his city had moved on without him. While he'd been gone, the city tripled in size. There were new faces and new buildings on every corner. A once quiet lake harbor had turned into a massive commercial dock. Downtown had been demolished and rebuilt into something new and foreign to him. But he quickly realized that past the well-manufactured facades, the city was still the same. The people he grew up with still suffered the same problems. Some faced new displacement. And then he finally realized everyone was just as lost as he was. When I met Raymond, he was running for office of City Councilman, District 4, better known as the Overpass. This is where Raymond grew up, in a cramped 2-bedroom house with his parents and brother. Connecting Palmyra to the rest of the country is a massive interstate highway. It was built in the 50s as a promise of economic growth that hadn't yet come to the sleepy little fishing town. In District 4, all the familial homes, passed down between generations, sit in the shadow of this overpass, barely spared a passing glance from truckers that drove by every day. And when that promised growth finally came, Raymond saw that the city had left his friends and neighbors behind. That didn't sit right with him, so he set out to change that, in small ways at first. He sought out mutual aid, soup kitchens, and cold weather shelters. He spent a lot of time there, not only volunteering, but also using their services to keep himself afloat. With his mother's health waning, he split his time between being a caretaker for her and for the city. Raymond's campaign for city councilman is what brought us together. I just moved across the country for my new job as a field reporter for Great Lakes Public Radio. I'd just gotten the keys to my new apartment, boxes still piled up, when I got my first assignment. Here's my first interview with Raymond, back when he was still a prospective city councilman.
Oh, this city, man. I love Palmyra. Don't get me wrong, it has a lot of growing to do if it's going to take care of the people who live here. But look around. People here care about one another. And I'm sure that's not unique to Palmyra, but I'm seeing it for the first time with fresh eyes. Ask anyone here what they love about the city, and you're sure to get a dozen different answers. And each one of them is right.
I took him up on that challenge.
Well, I love the food. There's a little bar right where the suburbs turn to city. Lucille's. Best burgers in town. And on Friday nights, they even have live music. Once in a while, you might even see Tony. She's got the most heavenly voice you'll ever hear.
The nature. I just moved here for an internship at Kurtizov Industries. Their campus is just outside the city, past miles of protected wetlands. Seeing all that pristine nature on my way to work every morning is always breathtaking. I really believe that they're going to change this city for the better.
Pick a direction.
Left?
No, like cardinal.
West.
There we go. Check this out. To the west, we're 20 minutes from the beach, and if you want to go east, 35 minutes. You like hunting?
Not my cup of tea, but my grandpa used to hunt.
Good. Drive an hour south of here, bam, state park. Deer hunting in the winter, some of the best game in the whole state.
A bit of context here, if you're not from Palmyra. The city sits on the center of a peninsula, which in turn sits between Lake Huron and Lake Mackinac. Drive a little bit in any direction, and you're bound to find breathtaking views. Whether it's the old docks and the rustic charm, or warm sandy beaches, or the lush wetlands and forests that surround the city to the north and south. There's something fantastic about living in a city nestled so deeply in nature. It's the perfect summer vacation destination, as long as you don't mind a bit of a commute.
Oh, me? Well, I love the fog in the mornings. I like to sit down at the old docks and watch the ferries come in. If I didn't get so seasick, I'd probably be on the ferries. But I still like watching them and hearing their horns echo off the water.
Did someone say saltwater taffy? Yeah? Okay, well, you have to go down to the Argo Market on Sunday mornings. They make it fresh, but get there early because that line gets long fast. And then, while you're there, you can see some of the old historic canneries. The old quarter is full of our history. You know, my family's been here for 6 generations. They used to work in those buildings. There is so much history here if you just stop to take it all in.
I love the Palmyra porpoises. Let's go, Porps! Seriously, every home game you could catch me in the stadium watching them play.
And finally, I turned the question back to Raymond himself.
Well, I love it all. But if I had to pick just one thing above everything else, it's the people. Is that cliche? Maybe. I don't know. Growing up here, the thing I remember best is the family dinners. My brother and I used to know every kid on our block. And in the summers, we'd all stay out playing until the streetlights came on. And then our families each took turns cooking big meals for the dozen or so kids in the neighborhood. My mom used to like to complain about those meals. That once every other week she had to feed the whole neighborhood, and she'd stay up late, sometimes 2 or 3 nights in a row preparing everything. But I saw the way she'd smile when the kids were eating her tamales. Best on the block.
6 different answers. I might have left it there, but when I shared everyone else's answers with Raymond, he got this big, excited grin on his face. And he told me, well, now I have a checklist of 6 things to do in the city. I told him I didn't really have that kind of time, and he told me otherwise.
You just moved here. If you don't make the time to see the city now, you'll get caught in the day-to-day and miss it.
And I told him, yeah, all right, maybe I would go check it out. But that wasn't good enough. Raymond derailed our interview and insisted I ran some errands with him. Raymond and I spent the next 4 hours driving across the city. We stopped at his favorite saltwater taffy shop, visited a beach, and even grabbed lunch at Tony's, which is the best place to get a meatball sub in the city. It was a hell of an interview, and a strong first impression. This city councilman has secured my vote. I didn't see Raymond for a while after that, but he had successfully egged me out of my shell. I took a little more time to get to know my new city. When I bumped into Raymond again, almost 2 years later, he'd made good on his bid for city councilman. He confessed that it wasn't glamorous work, but he loved it nonetheless. We caught up, and after a while, he invited me back to his mom's house for tamales. And he was right about that too. Best food on the block, and maybe in the whole city. That night kicked off a bit of a tradition. Every week, we'd go and grab a bite to eat, or cook for one another, or explore someplace new. Just when I thought I knew the city well, Raymond revealed some hidden gem, some perfect place hiding just out of sight. Also, it turned out that these were actually dates. Not much later, we got married. Together, Raymond and I had a mission to accomplish: take care of our neighbors. In a city with so much life, it was easy to get overlooked. And as the city rapidly grew, more and more people were getting left behind. We each had our own ways of helping people out of bad situations. Raymond worked tirelessly through the nights, defending his constituents, and I spent my days bringing light to the issues that affected our neighbors. Raymond and I were together for 6 years. I can't count the mornings we spent together, lounging in bed while sunlight and birdsong drifted in, or the time our hands entwined. A million moments we shared together, whether it was melting on a couch on a hot day or pressing together tightly on a cold winter evening. Every second with him was wonderful and worthwhile. And when the fighting in Palmyra started, while the whole world was falling apart, I was just glad that Raymond and I were still together. Maybe it was hell in Palmyra, but I found peace being by his side. Whether we were cooped up in our apartment or up late hosting town halls.
Thank you for coming out, everyone. I know you all have questions. Everyone, please! I'm hoping I can answer most of your questions. But first I have some news to share with you all. As you're already aware, Governor Babick has ordered the National Guard to begin evacuations. We've begun working with the mayor to identify high-risk communities where the elderly and families with young children live. We're doing this neighborhood by neighborhood. Our office has printed out copies of the current evacuation plan and the anticipated time and dates when...
My brother's disabled. He has medical
We
equipment.
have children
that's
and our
too big to
neighborhood's
move.
last. Why can't
The National
we...
Guard are just making this all worse. Between
I
them
have family
and
outside the
food.
city waiting for me.
When
Yes.
can I leave the city?
All the grocery stores near me are closed. Stopping me from just packing up and leaving.
I read online that the Liberty
I
Line
understand that-
can't
and-
stop
Job
until
still
the federal
pay me?
government-
Even if I drive out of the city, doesn't that help move the evacuation forward?
Neighbor says he's going to stay and ignore the evacuation.
Thank you for sharing your...
Can I?
It's against the Third Amendment. No soldier should be quartered in any house.
Why aren't the cops helping?
I
People
heard the
online are
National
saying
Guard
that
took
they're
over a
kidnapping
hotel
random. I have
downtown.
family waiting for me outside the city. The lines are practically at my doorstep.
If you would allow me to...
What, am I supposed to just sit and wait for them to shoot up my house? They're kidnapping random people
I
off
heard
the streets.
Curtis
Where's
Ave
the law?
employees got priority
Who
evacuation.
decided on this evacuation schedule?
People...
Can I
I
talk
saw
to
a
about
video
it?
online
Please.
that
Why
the cops
is no one doing anything about the fighting
Decided
downtown?
on this evacuation.
I hear your questions. I promise I won't be leaving here tonight until I've personally heard from each and every one of you. I'm not going anywhere. We're in this together. Now, we've set up several shelters throughout the city if you fear you're too close to the conflict. Many people downtown have already moved to the baseball stadium, but there's also shelters available nearby. A majority of
We held
people
this
have
pattern
already
for
been
weeks.
moved out of Baker.
During the day, we'd field phone calls and share evacuation news. And at night, we'd help our neighbors however we could. We fought so hard to stay on top of every bulletin that came in and every block that got evacuated. We got people out of the city. We helped make sense of all this disorder. And we were so good at it. And then, the flash. And suddenly, everything went quiet. No one would talk to us. The friends we'd made in the National Guard seemed as lost and confused as we were by the quarantine. And when our internet cut out and the phone lines went down, we were just as lost as everyone else. We didn't know what was happening or why, but that was fine, because we had each other. We pivoted, we adapted, we did everything in our power to keep our slice of the world intact. I started collecting voicemails and messages from people trapped inside, like us, who wanted to broadcast out. I had some amateur AM radio experience and rigged together something to distribute information around the city. And Raymond, he knew how to organize people, give them purpose while they waited for answers. He collected food, helped people prep and plan for an uncertain future. He gave them something to hold on to. And it wasn't ideal, but it was working. But we were fighting to get through every day, and I could feel the city driving a wedge between us. We weren't sleeping, we weren't talking, and eventually, we turned on each other. I was working late, organizing messages and futzing with my radio, when he stopped at my doorway. For most of my life, I worried that I was too much, too loud, too boisterous, took up too much room. And sure, sometimes it was charming to be a big personality, but I always worried that that grated on the people in my life. Did I talk too much? Over-explain myself? Hog the conversation? Was I putting myself on a pedestal I didn't deserve? Probably. But when I met Raymond, all those fears melted away. Here was someone who never made me feel like I was too much. He encouraged me, pushed me into my career path, and celebrated my wins. With Raymond, it felt like there was always a spotlight on me. And I admit, I loved his spotlight.
Jack, I want to talk.
Yeah, Ray, what is it?
I'm tired of being cooped up in the apartment. I'm not happy here. This isn't enough.
Recently, another fear had taken root. I worried that I wasn't enough. I didn't have the energy I used to have. I could see all Raymond was doing for everyone around us, and I knew I was falling behind. And I was worried that I was dragging him down. If anyone was going to save this city, it was going to be Raymond. Was I really selfish enough to put myself ahead of everyone in Palmyra? We'd had this fight before. Raymond wanted to do more, and I was too tired, too burnt out, on my last legs.
Ray, I don't know how much more we can do. I mean, look at us. It's 2 a.m. and we're still working. I mean, just today, I've had, 40, almost 50 voicemails and messages come in? And on top of all the others...
I know, Jack. But it's been weeks of radio silence. You're not out there with me, but people are getting scared. They have food for now, but every day we go without answers is adding stress. These people are cracking. You're cracking. I'm cracking.
Ray,
I know you're tired, but these people need us. There's still more to do.
What? What more can we do? What do we have left to give them?
Everything, Jack. I don't know what that is yet, but I know we can do more. I can do more. But staying in here another day, that feels like giving up.
I mean, I don't want to give up, but...
Too much, and not enough. We sat there, in silence for a while, neither of us sure what to say.
I need to go out. I will never forgive myself if I don't try to do everything I can.
I don't want you to leave. We're safe in here, Ray.
That's not enough for me.
I know, but I can't. I'm not cut out for this. I'm tired. I'm scared.
Just come with me. Please? It doesn't have to be scary if we're together.
I have responsibilities here. I need to keep tending to the radio, and what if there's an important message that needs to go out, and
You need to stay here.
I need to stay here. I'm sorry.
Why are you sorry?
I see you. I see you blazing ahead of me. I see how much you have left to give, and I wish I could help, but I'm falling behind, and I've been trying and trying. But I'm not you. I can't be. Just a fucking coward.
I know you're not a coward, Jack.
Raymond's last words to me. We slept in different rooms that night, and when I woke, he was gone. Here's a list of the things Raymond left behind. His watch. An anniversary gift for 5 years. Has to be wound every day. It stopped working at 3:18 a.m. I'm not sure when he stopped winding it. Intact ashes of incense cones. The last of our dwindling supply. A small comfort on some of the worst nights. A box of canned goods, water, and other miscellaneous supplies. A donation destined for Rosie's, a nearby hospital-turned-refugee camp. We were supposed to deliver these supplies together the day he left. His good boots, well worn and well loved. He'd had them since before we started dating. There was some small part of me that thought surely, without his good boots, he wouldn't go far. If not me, surely he'd come back for these boots. His desk, a small, humble desk and stool where he'd brainstorm, draw, or read after a long day's work. And in all the things Raymond left behind, the one thing I never found was a note. Some explanation as to where he was going or what noble pursuit he was following. And maybe that, the lack of a note, is the thing that hurt the worst. because everywhere I looked, I saw the impressions he left behind. And surrounded by all his things, without Raymond, I was tormented. And then, weeks later, I was sitting alone in our apartment, doing what little work I could to distract myself from everything going on. I thought if I just worked a little longer, I'd drift into an exhausted sleep. And then maybe Raymond would find me in my dreams. But sleep was harder and harder to find those days.
If you can hear my voice, please listen. My name is Raymond Parker.
It was 2 a.m. when I heard his voice crackle to life on my radio. It made my heart leap, knowing that somewhere he was out there.
The truth is out there. Please, don't let this opportunity go to waste. And if you're listening, then you know where to look. Just
His final words rang in my head, over and over and over. I did everything I could to drown them out, but nothing seemed to help. Eventually, I turned to my old recordings. One of the awful things about being a radio journalist is that you take recordings for granted. And I thought, surely I've got so much of my life on tape. But when I went back through the files, I found very little. We had plenty of photos and mementos, sure, but I longed to hear his voice. I spent days searching through old hard drives, cached files, and all I found was...
I love Palmyra. I know you're not a coward, Jack.
And that's all I have. Records of the first time and the last time we ever spoke. Somewhere in my shapeless grief, a thought occurred to me. If I couldn't find some evidence of our love, then fine, I'd fulfill Raymond's last wish. He hid his files somewhere his friends, whoever they were, would find them. And then they'd broadcast it out to me. Easy. All I had to do was sit and listen. This became my one objective, my one obsession. I fell into an awful routine. I'd wake up, usually late in the afternoon, and I'd scrub through my radio frequencies, listening to scraps of conversations, lost songs, forgotten memories, yearning to hear whatever message might be meant for me. But in the static, all I found were memories.
I read online that the Liberty Line needs your job still getting to help move the evacuation forward.
Day after day, it had been a fruitless search, but I was ever vigilant. Every day I scrubbed through radio frequencies, listening, waiting. Then, as the morning sun started to crest the horizon, I slumped down on the couch, exhausted, hurt, and miserable. Somewhere in the darkness, there was a knock at the door. I was half asleep. At first, I thought it was a knock from a lingering dream. Then, slowly, I started to wake up as a cold dread filled me. Who'd come to visit me, in the middle of the night no less? Palmyra wasn't safe, and I wasn't safe. The knock came again. Slowly, I got up and inched down the hallway. The building's power went out a month ago, leaving behind a long, dark hallway separating me and whoever was entreating entrance outside my apartment door. I stepped cautiously, trying to avoid the floorboard I knew would creak beneath my feet. Maybe I could make out something through the people, if only I could get there without drawing the visitors' attention. The knock came again, more impatient this time, followed by a voice I knew all too well.
Jack, I know you're in there. Let me in.
Someone I knew, but an intruder nonetheless. My sister, Elizabeth Birdie Feldman.
We need to talk.
What are you doing here? Talk about what?
She pushed into my apartment without invitation and stalked down our hallway. She stopped only to look over the sad state of the apartment. I'm sure it wasn't how she remembered it.
You heard it, didn't you?
My husband's final message before someone shot him in the back? Yes, I did. But if you're wondering where he hid the files or whatever he stole, well, I have no idea. I've thought about it, I've tried to not think about it, and I've got nothing. I mean, Bertie, I don't even know where he was for the last month.
Jack, stop.
And, who was he working with? How'd he even get his hands on these files? And what? He wants me to broadcast them out to the world? I've been waiting at my radio, listening for hours, every day, but I haven't heard anything.
Jack, the answers aren't here in your files. They're out there. We haven't recovered Raymond's files yet.
Wait.
Raymond was working with me.
My sister, ladies and gentlemen, Bertie Feldman. We have very different outlooks on life. Her and Raymond used to get into shouting matches over difference of opinions. Raymond believed that working within the system would do the most good for the most people, and if we held out just long enough, eventually help would come. But Bertie, she believed no one was coming to save us. We had to save ourselves. In the earliest days of the cordon, Bertie and her compatriots were raiding Federal and Liberty Alliance camps, destroying supplies and causing chaos. Hit and runs, ambushes, sabotage, guerrilla tactics. I'm not sure if they moved the needle, or if it was anything more than a mild inconvenience for these two rivaling powers, but Bertie seemed to believe that she was making a real change. It's not that Bertie is wrong, but my sister and husband never really saw eye to eye on anything, and now...
It wasn't a secret or anything. Raymond showed up and told me about... He wanted to help.
To hear that Raymond had defected from what I thought was our cause to this?
Jack, please say something.
And what? What did you accomplish?
The plan had been in the works for a long time. Longer than Raymond had been around. We started to hear whispers that something strange was happening downtown in the combat zone. There's things coming out of the rubble. People think the Flash made monsters.
Monsters?
Don't look at me like that, Jack. You don't know what it's like out there anymore. Things are getting worse and people are getting desperate.
And now there's monsters?
Yes. I was just as skeptical as you were until I saw one. They're real and we are woefully unprepared to deal with them. But we think that the feds knew about this. Why else would they quarantine the city after the Flash?
I don't know, Bertie. Because of an unknown pathogen? I mean, have you seen the FEMA camps? They're overflowing with people.
You're smarter than that, Jack.
I know, you're not a coward, Jack.
Apparently, I'm not, Bertie. Apparently, I've been sitting up here in a tower lying to myself. So tell me, what's the truth? What's so important that my husband had to put his life on the line?
Raymond went up to the Kurtisov campus. We had some help getting inside. He found something that implicated Kurtisov in all of this. Someone knows exactly what the Flash was and what's happening to our city, and they're not telling us.
So Raymond broke into the Kurtisov campus outside the city, got caught, retreated through 30 miles of wetlands, hid some files somewhere, and then got shot?
We don't think Kurtisov knew about the breach.
Then who killed him?
Well, as you can imagine, we've kicked up a bit of a hornet's nest.
Really?
Don't be an ass. It could have been anyone. Maybe some random lion or... We think it was the feds. We think it's one Fed in particular. Sam Fincher.
Sam Fincher. A name that would come to haunt me. Always ahead of me at every turn. Just out of reach.
He's been disrupting our plans for a while now. He's been tracking us down and...
Jeez, Bertie.
That's why I'm here, Jack.
Why?
Fincher knows us. And right now, I need to focus on keeping everyone alive.
And you want me to...
I know it's a big ask, but I have no one left to ask. We need the file Raymond recovered. Here's our original plan. It's not much, but it'll put you on Raymond's trail. I know you'll do the right thing.
I know you're not a coward, Jack.
And just like that, Birdie left, disappearing back into the city. I was alone again. In his missing month, Raymond was doing everything in his power to protect this city. I'm going to scour this city looking for answers, finishing Raymond's work. Join me every other week as we document the oral history of the Palmyra exclusion zone. And follow along with my colleagues' work inside and outside the city at AmericanAbyss.org. This is American Abyss, and I'm Jack Feldman, signing off.